Hey everyone, it's Dawn Duvall with Shall We Stamp, coming to you from Fort Myers, Florida. And tonight we are going to be doing two cards. One's a really quick, easy one, and the other one is, I think you're going to really like it. So, again, I am recording this live because of connectivity issues. I hope you don't mind, and I really do appreciate you all being here with me. It means a great deal. And if you will, please make sure that you leave your comments, let me know that you're here, and then share my video. I will be checking the comments later this evening, and then I'll respond to you at that time. All right, thanks again, and let's get started. Okay, this evening we're going to be using just the sentiment from the Plentiful Plant stamp set, and I really like this set. And this is the card that we're going to be making. It's a very simple card. And again, I'm trying to offer some simple cards for those that are beginner stampers. And sometimes it's just nice to do, you know, what they say, less is more, right? So we're going to work on this. This is an evening evergreen with a piece of soft succulent and then some of the coordinating designer series paper. And let me give you the dimensions. Of course, the cardstock is 8.5 by 5.5 by 8.5. It's scored at 4 1/4, and then the piece of soft succulent here is going to be 3 1/4, so it's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then our designer series paper is going to be a quarter less, so that's going to be 3 by 4. And what we're going to do is it's called the tearing technique. So we're going to tear the bottom end and flip it over and show the reverse side of this paper. Now I want you to look at that. Let me get over this side. Isn't that pretty? And then we're going to use a piece of the gold brushed metallic, and this actually is carrying over. And the sentiment, this one was from Eden's Garden, but we're going to be using a sentiment from Plentiful Plants. Let's go ahead and get started. I did use two circles that are, just like last week's video, that are retired. And the circles, and you can use whatever size circle you like. Metallic one is a 1 3/4 circle, and the other one is going to be a 1.5 for my sentiment. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get started creating this card. All right, so we have our we're going to use soft succulent cardstock, and again it's 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and fold it, and I'm doing it this way. You could do it this way, but I want my card to be this way. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach. Now this piece, I'm going to put the brushed gold metallic on as my background in place of what I had in the soft succulent. So let's go ahead and add this piece right now. And this, I think, is going to be makes a really stunning card. These are, again, this is a card that you can make a lot of these in no time. You just set down like an assembly line, cut out each of the pieces, have them ready to go, and then you just start putting it together. So this is going to go in the center of the card, okay? And again, this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm just eyeballing it, but if you want it exactly measured, use your grid paper, and you can do that as well, and I think that looks good. All right, now this piece is 3 1/4. Now it's going to go like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tear this, and I'm going to tear it just based on, and you want to pick something that's not going to, the back side's not going to clash, if you will. So I'm just going to tear this. There's no right or wrong way. I'm just tearing it, okay? So this is going to go here, and then this piece will go right down here. It's going to be a little bit opposite, but that's okay, right? And we may tuck it under just so that we have our 3 1/4. So let's go ahead and put this piece on, and I told you this is going to be a very easy card. So let's go ahead and attach this piece here, and we'll get that on there. We'll bring it down, and it's got the gold in it, so I thought that would make this look really pretty of what we're doing here. So we're going to put that right there, and then this piece we're just going to put it right like that. Now we can pop it under if we'd like, which I think we will, because so I'm going to lift this up before our glue adheres, because this is going to show a little bit of a gap. And I know we hate to not show this pretty side of the paper, but it's something different, and the tearing technique has been around for a long time, and sometimes we forget about the easy techniques to do, and I know I've kind of lost sight of that at some point and started doing all these fun folds. So I'm going to start doing like a nice, a little bit more difficult card, but then I'm also going to do some that are going to be easy, especially for those that are beginners. So I'm just going to tuck this under here, and I want to make sure I've got it straight. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit because you can see where I had my adhesive, and I'm going to leave it right about there because you can see just a little bit. I'm just going to bring that down, and that covers any gaps that we have. Now, isn't that cute? It's just another way that we can show our different two sides of the paper. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we've got our 2 circles that are cut out. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because I feel like I'm a little bit, let me move this over some. I feel like I'm a little bit far away from y'all, so you can't really see that well. Let's do that. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp one of the sentiments from the Plentiful, and we're going to do that in our soft succulent ink. And then I'm also going to take this flowered one. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna put my hand there if you can see that flower. We're gonna stamp that around the sentiment, okay? So this sentiment says, "You touched my heart." So we're gonna, hopefully I can stamp this right in the center. We'll get that right there. All right, and it's a very simple, so I'm gonna take this in the same color, and I'm gonna do half on one side. So I'm just gonna come around, let me go ahead and stamp the whole thing. I'm just gonna come around and do like a partial, not sure what this is gonna look like. Let's see if we can get the whole thing on there. We'll do that there. Oh, I think that'll look pretty. And then the top one, I think we're gonna, let's stamp off a little bit because that was a little strong, and let's just do a little bit right there to make it a little bit lighter. There we go. I think that looks nice. And then we'll attach that to our sentiment, to our gold piece, and we're just gonna use our adhesive. This one we're gonna keep somewhat flat. We will pop this up on a dimensional though, because we got to have that. And then we're going to decorate our envelope as well. So let's go ahead and lay this on here. Isn't that pretty? All right, so let's get our dimensionals out and attach. Here they are. I've got one right here next to me. Oh, they're underneath my paper. See? Whenever you look for them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and attach this. I'm going to put, I always put 3 on a circle. Not sure why, but I do. So we'll put 3 on here. You know, we could, if you really wanted, you could put a little bit of ribbon underneath, but I think I want to just keep it very simple. So I'm going to place this, I think I'm going to place it right in the center, right about there. That kind of hides a little bit of that tear. I'm going to put that right there. And then we've got our piece for the inside, and that's what we'll, write our message on. So let's go ahead and attach that, add that, and I'm just going to keep my ink on the edges so that I can get my writing on there. And we'll put that inside, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and we'll make sure that's straight, and then I'll write my sentiment or stamp something later. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of these are the garden gems. I love these things. Aren't they pretty? Now these, I'll move it over here. These we do have in the catalog, right? They carried over from last year. And then here's are these like diamond looking things. So I'm just going to place one of these on our sentiment, and I might place a couple on around the card. I like these. I'm going to take a small one of these little diamond looking things, and I'm going to put it right there. All right, and then I'm going to take some of this smaller. They've got 2 sizes. I'm going to take, this has got the bluish, kind of bluish green with gold. So I'm going to place one right about there. And then I'm going to take a little tiny one, and I'm going to place that, let's do it right about there. How's that? All right, see how simple and easy that card is? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And that's all there is to it. That's the card. It's the tear technique. So you just grab your designer paper, tear it, and slap it on there. You're good to go. And I really think the gold makes a really nice touch. All right, we're going to start out with a piece of cardstock. It's Evening Evergreen, and it's cut at 5 1/2 by 10 5/8. All right, and we're going to score this, since we're going to score it at, let me pull out my arm here. And if you notice I'm using the wrong trimmer, it's because I brought the wrong one from home. And this always makes me feel like I'm going to break it, but it's really tough to push it in that way. And I think I told you that last week. But anyways, we're going to score at 4 1/4, which is going to be our normal, right? So we're going to do 4 1/4. We're going to score that. And then we're going to move it down to 8 1/2. right there, and we're score here, okay? And then that's all the scoring that we're gonna do. So let me go ahead and move this out of the way. And then, okay, so we have our paper, and let's go ahead and fold our score line. So we're gonna score, fold it. Bear with me, my paper's shifting. Hang on a second. Get this in here so it's even. We wanna make sure we've got a good crisp crease. And then we're gonna fold this one up as well. So we're gonna fold that one. All right, so this should be right. Okay, so this is gonna close and that's gonna fold over top. Now that's a little bit off. So all I'm gonna do is because sometimes the papers cut a little bit differently. So I'm just gonna trim like 1/8 off. I'm not gonna cut very much off. I just want enough that it's not gonna interfere with me closing. So I'm just gonna lay it right over the track, and I'm gonna line it up right with the track itself. I'm just gonna pull the cutting blade down and trim that off. It's probably gonna be like 1/8 of an inch, if that. That way it's gonna close, okay? And then we'll probably end up having to trim our designer paper as well, but we'll do that when we get ready. Okay, so here we go. Now I've got a piece of, this is the same paper from in the wild, but look at that. See, isn't this pretty, the flower? So that's what we're gonna work with. All right, so this is gonna go on the front of our card. So this is cut at, which I'm probably gonna need to cut this down just a hair too, because I did cut that off. And this piece is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm just gonna cut off a little smidge of the 4 so that we can make sure we've got a nice little edge. So let's just trim that off. But normally your card's gonna be 4 by 5 1/4 is your piece of designer series paper. So that's gonna go on there really nice. So let's go ahead and add that. And then we're going to add our other piece for this part right here. And this is the same thing, and I've just flipped it over. Isn't that pretty? So let's go ahead and add that. And the reason we're gonna do this, we're gonna do our cut, and we wanna have all of this on there. It's gonna be a little bit harder to cut through because we're gonna be cutting through a couple of 2 pieces, but it will be worth it. So let's go ahead and cut. This is 2 inches by 5 1/4. Okay, so 2 inches by 5 1/4. All right, so we've got that there. And then let's go ahead and add our piece to the top. And we're gonna lay that there. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this piece to the front of the card. Okay, now we're gonna use our classic label punch, and I know this is retired, but I can't live without, it's these and the circle punches I cannot live without. So this piece, let's put it like this. So these flowers do look like they have a top and a bottom, so we're gonna move that over. I think that's such a pretty paper, don't you? I would not believe that that was in that paper in that set. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the classic label punch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push it all the way in as far as it will go inside my card, and I'm going to move it. I don't want it on the edge because I want it to be able to slide open. So I'm going to leave probably, there's where it's going to cut, so it's probably what, maybe 1/2 inch or so. So I'm going to push it all the way in, and then I'm going to punch this out. Okay, so there's that one. Now the easiest way to line this up is to lay this one on top and see how that is. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use I'm going to use one of my Stampin' blends. I don't have a pen handy, and all I'm going to do is make a little mark right here, and I know that's where, right at this tip here, I'm going to make a little pencil marker. You can do a pencil, and I know that's where I've got to line up my punch to even it with the other punch. Okay, now this one will cut out the side, and that's going to give it the area for it to, so I'm pushing it all the way in, but I'm bringing that little mark right to the tip, and I'm going to bring it right about there. So see that? It's right at the tip of my mark, and we'll just go ahead and punch it. All right, so we've got that punched out, and then there is our locking mechanism. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is I went ahead and cut out, and again I've used my retired circle punches, and I cut out 2 Evening Evergreen, and I cut these with the 2-inch circle, I'm sorry, the 2-inch circle, and then the white, the basic white, is going to be at the 1 3/4, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 1/2. Let me see. I think it's going to be 1 3/4. Let me find my ruler. This one's a little bit smaller. No, this is 1 yeah, this is 1 1/2, and this is, actually, these are the 1 3/4, and then this is 1 1/2. Okay, so this is what we're going to use for our mechanism. All right, so I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and we're going to stamp that. I'm taking it from the Beauty of Friendship stamp set, and I'm using You Truly Inspire Me, and I'm going to stamp that in Evening Evergreen. Yeah, let's do Evening Evergreen. All right, so we're going to line this up and stamp. Hopefully y'all can see me stamp this. Hang on a minute. Let me get my paper. We'll hide the little mesh there. Okay, let's put that right there, and we should be able to get that right on here. You Truly Inspire Me. All right, perfect. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to attach the this to one of the green. So we're going to go ahead and place that on here. So we'll go ahead and add our adhesive to this. All right. Okay, so we're going to flip this over. And I do want to let you all know that I am going to be offering my new, you know, every catalog comes out, I do a paper share. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's going to be like a one-time. It's going to be an online event called Stamp into Spring, and I'll give you some more information if you all are interested once I get it finalized. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have I'm going to do a private Facebook group. 2 sessions. One, I'll just come on at the beginning, and then the second one, I'll do some giveaways, and then you're going to receive a quarter pack of all of the papers, a quarter pack of the ribbons. So there's 11 papers and 7 ribbons, and you're going to also get 9 card kits for each, 1 set for each of the new designer papers. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get a celebration gift. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. And you'll have the option to add on another class. So I'll give you more information on that once it comes about. Now that we have our card on there, what we want to do is we want to take a dimensional, and these fit perfectly. So we're going to take the dimensional and we're going to place it on the back. This is the second circle that I cut out, right? So I'm going to place that circle right under here. And what I'm going to do, actually, let's do it this way. Let's put it on here. So let's put it on the center of this card. We're going to put it on the center of our sentiment. And we're going to lay it inside, and that should push it all the way through. All right, so see, we push it through, it's gonna slide, right? So we're going to lay that down. We're just going to use the 1, and we're going to pull off the backing, and we're going to add this to the back, and that's going to give us our back, so it holds the back, hides the back of that sentiment. So see how that's going to work? So we're going to slide it all the way over. We're going to close this and fold this down, fold that piece down, and then it slides back. You get it going. See how that goes? And then you just want to kind of push it over to hide the lever. As far as cutting, you may not want to go that far in. You might want to come back a little bit. All right, so there's our card. Now we're going to decorate the inside so they open it. There you go. All right, so we're going to take a piece of 4 by 5 1/4, and I think we should be good with this size right here, and that's going to go down on the inside. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to place this piece on the inside. That's going to coordinate, and I think I'm going to cut this down just a little bit. I think I'm going to cut it down maybe 1/4 of an inch. So let me get the paper trimmer, because that's going to take away from, I mean, we can leave it like that. Let's see, I think this is 1 inch. This is 1 1/4 inch. So let's cut this down to 1 inch. It's going to be 1 inch by 4, if I'm not mistaken. So let's cut that down to 1 inch. And then we're going to cut, I've got some crushed curry, and I'm going to cut this, let's cut 3/8 of an inch. And that should work right there. So we're going to cut that. Let's move that out of there. So what I want to do is I'm going to apply this right here. So this is 4. It's going to hang over just a little bit, and then I'll trim it. And then I'm going to place this on top to pull out some of that yellow on the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this. And this is a really quick, easy card. I mean, it's taken me a little bit longer because I'm showing it to y'all, but it really is a quick and easy card. So let's go ahead and we'll push this down here, get this one on here. And I always like to cut these a little bit longer, that way I know it's going to go over the edge, and then I'll trim it off. So we've got that there, and then we're going to add our crushed curry, which I know it's not going to go all the way, so we'll just give it some glue, maybe about to there. And we'll trim this off as well. So we're going to lay that right on the top and butt it right up to our cardstock. All right, and we're going to let that push it over to the edge so it's lined up. There we go. All right, so that, isn't that pretty? I just love that. And then we're going to trim off the paper, and I have just a little bit on the designer series paper. It's not much, but just enough because I want to make sure it's nice and even and flush. All right, so there's the inside of our card. So we'll go ahead and add our adhesive to this. We'll go on the inside, and then you can add your sentiment, and we're going to lay that right there. All right, so then we close up our card, pop this in, pop this down, lift it up just enough to get your corner under there. You might have to bend it a little bit, and then fold it over, and there you go. There's our card. Isn't that cute? All right, and then there we go. So we go and slide it over, pop this out, and there's our card, and you can write your sentiment on the inside of the card. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Let me pull in the other card that we made, and let me get this guy closed. And we'll get that. I'm a little all thumb. I'm always all thumbs. Okay. All right, so there's that card, and let's pull in our other card that we made. So here's the two cards that we did this evening using the Beauty of Friendship stamp set and coordinating dies. Isn't that pretty? And then we have this card. I love that paper. I'm gonna have to dig that paper out and start using some more of it. There you go. There's our two cards. I hope you all really enjoyed this video. Again, my apologies for not being live, but I wanted to make sure you got the best use of your time and not have to deal with my connectivity issues. So thanks again. I will see you all next Tuesday, and that one will probably be recorded. We'll see how the internet goes between now and then. All right, everyone. Thanks again. Make sure you share and comment. I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure you share with your friends. The more people that I meet or you bring to the page, the more people that hopefully I can inspire to create. And again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye now.